Ohio is a highway so historic it was given a special name when it was first built 100 years ago. You can still drive it. Most people who do probably don't even know of its significance, but Leon Bibb sure does. And if you take this road to its very end, it might be the ride of your life. Here's My Ohio with Leon Bibb.
Don't know about you, but I love the road. Put my car on the open road and let her run. Maybe I got highway fever, watching those lane lines whiz by. This is my story of the Lincoln Highway, which starts on the East Coast, winds its way through Ohio, and reaches the West Coast. A historic Lincoln Highway ride, I promise you, now that you're riding shotgun with me. But let's take a momentary detour off the Lincoln to link up with Bob Lichty, connoisseur of old things. In Canton, he sells vintage cars. As well, he is past president of the Lincoln Highway Association, celebrating the nation's first coast-to-coast highway. Recently, he drove the entire route.
We went on the 1913 route, which is the oldest segment, and we did 270 miles of dirt road in Utah.
In 1913, highway-minded people broke ground for America's first transcontinental road. Named in memory of President Lincoln, the road was born in New York City with sights set on San Francisco. The road still exists. 241 of its miles cross Ohio. Interestingly, in its early days, there was no government money involved.
Government didn't believe it was their duty to pay for paved roads across the country, only maybe in cities and stuff like that.
So several wealthy auto industry businessmen, including Goodyear Tires founder F.A. Seiberling of Akron, built it. Idea was, build a road and people will buy cars to drive the road. It worked. The Ohio section of the Lincoln lumbered out of East Liverpool, moved on toward Minerva, curved into Canton, and rolled through Robertsville, passing through some of the quaintest areas you've ever seen. Following the setting sun, the road made for Mansfield, Delphos, and Van Wert, and points west. In this entire country, this is the best piece of the original brick Lincoln Highway. 16 feet across. Head in that direction, we'll reach New York City. If we spin it around on the Lincoln Highway, head in this direction, San Francisco. Here we come. The present Lincoln, just as in 1913, is peppered with businesses offering roadside flavor. Most of it is a grown-up road now, but it has an old-style essence here and there. At the LA City Diner in Canton, the cook will fry your eggs, all within sight of the Lincoln. Do people come in knowing this is the Lincoln Highway?
Yes, last week I had lots of people.
Most drivers blow by without a thought of the road's history. Out in the country, the pace slows a bit. Tight turns a bit, especially where the path is its original brick. Because this part of Ohio was brick-making country, the brick fellows got a piece of the building action too. Why don't we make a gas station stop and check on our directions? You get a lot of folks who stop in and ask you about the Lincoln Highway?
Not a whole lot anymore, but we used to.
Maybe that's because most drivers know the old route, now mostly modernized and widened with asphalt, as US 30. That's another story inside our Lincoln Travelogue. Years ago, roads did not have numbers. They just had names. You're on the Lincoln Highway. You're on the Dixie Highway. Well, that got confusing. A lot of people didn't know where they were. 1938, the government said, let's put a number on the road. This is US 30, Lincoln Highway. Whether named or numbered, what the Lincoln did was open up this country. Road work begun in New York in 1913, finished up in San Francisco 2 years later. For the first time, drivers could travel, albeit on a narrow strip, from New York to San Francisco. They could motor through more than 700 cities, towns, and villages in 14 states, including Ohio.
This is what opened up all of America to transportation, both for commerce and for pleasure.
It is US 30, but signs remind you this is still the Lincoln Highway, cutting a swath across the continent with a good chunk of it passing through Ohio. The first transcontinental road, built in 1913, still rolling, and so are we, tooling along the Lincoln Highway, a part of My Ohio. I'm Leon Bibb.